Everybody, I finally got my hands on these. The reason why you're watching this video is that you fall into the hype of the Speedmaster Moonswatch. I mean, why wouldn't you? Like, when Swatch initially released the idea of a $300 Speedmaster, everybody became very excited. I guess something we thought that we never even needed. But and then you just saw the execution of the design with 11 variants. It was something truly like very interesting, and I wanted one. It's like, you want one. There's a reason why you're watching this video. So, but later, what happened was that there was a lot of negativity that surrounded that. One thing was that it was out of stock, and the second thing is that people who actually got these watches said that they're cheaply made, and it's not worth $320 Canadian price point. It is worth that. But after getting this and after spending time with this, I can say that this is something truly remarkable done by Mega and Swatch. I found a very, shall I say, a different approach, a different opinion of this watch, and I think it is greatness. It is greatness in the watch world, which will eventually, like, once this goes out of stock, once they stop making this is something to be remembered in the watch world. And Swatch did a absolutely ingenious move, not just with the idea, but with the execution of this watch. Now, if you just take a look at the design of this specific model. Now, this specific model is inspired by the Alaska 2 project that Omega had. So what they did in that was they created prototypes which were designed, a Speedmaster is designed specifically to last in extreme temperatures, because when astronauts went in space, they noticed that aircraft vary in huge degrees of temperature. So Omega decided to design a watch that would actually last in those temperatures. So they designed a Speedmaster with a white dial to deflect off the heat, and an aluminum case which kind of helped it become resistant in extreme temperatures. So this watch is actually based on that, this specific one, mission to Mars. The rocket sub-dial hands are specifically designed to create easy legibility, because you want your watch to be very functional when you're undergoing a spacecraft mission. So this is specifically why it was designed to. Other than that, the Omega logo is at the 12 o'clock, and I love the fact that they even did that and ceremoniously synchronized its design with the Speedmaster. It's very similar. The depth of the sub-dial, the depth of the sub-dial, everything about it is taken from the Speedmaster, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. And it varies 42 millimeters, which may seem big, but sometimes the watches are too small for it to be actually functional. It affects the legibility. So making it 42 millimeters, and the way the case is designed, the placement of the tachymeter, and the size of the actual dial of itself, it does not actually feel like you're wearing something extraordinarily big, but it's just perfect. It just has a presence on the hand, which you might want. I think most people want a slight presence, not a very subtle presence on the wrist. So it has that, but it doesn't feel too big. The lume of itself contrasts with the dial. The slight yellowish color of the lume, it adds that definition to the dial. Like I said, it's not overdone. Like if you look at the 6 o'clock, there is this Omega in a certain color, and at 12 o'clock there's Swatch written on the strap in a certain color. It truly has that, it has something, makes the watch very sporty, and makes it stand out and definitely noticeable by anybody who's not even a watch guy, a watch woman, a watch enthusiast. It makes it noticeable for it. And the thing is, it does not make it noticeable in a negative way, in a toyish way that it looks like a toy. It does not look like a toy. And the strap saying Speedmaster, it just stands out very beautifully as a sports watch, and it's a truly beautiful design. So addressing the question of it being out of stock. Okay, so amidst the pandemics, we know everything had a supply chain. Every product was affected by supply chain issues. So naturally, this watch as well. So perhaps even Swatch did not anticipate such huge demand. So, and they said that it's not limited, so it would eventually become so easy to get. Like right now, this was very easy for me to get. I went in there, and there were not a lot of people on the line, and they had a lot of pairs of these. So this was pretty easy for me to get, and I actually low-key like the anticipation, the excitement of going to a store to grab a watch. Plus, one thing, you get it instantly. You don't have to wait for a shipment or anything. And there's an experience. Like, for example, I live in Cambridge. I had to drive 2 hours to get this, and I found it. So that was a very exciting, emotional, high and low type of a journey. I actually support the idea of an in-store thing, but I understand in some places it's not. So it should be available online. But the thing is, with online, there are bots and stuff. So I feel like Swatch is actually trying to like really make it available for people to get. And because the Swatch store that I visited, they said that they're restocking like 4 times a week, and everybody should be able to get them soon. Swatch does not intentionally intend to like keep the stock low, just like Rolex does. So that's how Swatch is dealing with the first issue. The second issue is people complain about the quality of this watch. Like, it's cheaply made, catches scratches easily, and it's not worth $320. So to that, I'll say this. I'll answer it in 2 ways. One, I'll talk about the material, and the second is the price point of itself. For the watch of itself, it's made by bioceramic, which is a combination of ceramic and biogenerated plastic. So the thing about ceramic is that it's heat resistant, it's corrosion resistant, but it's brittle. It breaks easy when you throw it down the ground. Now, if you combine that with plastic, it would certainly add some rigidity to the material, and plastic is easily made, and it adds that smoothness to the feel of the watch. It feels phenomenal. The case itself feels very phenomenal. It doesn't feel like other plastic watches Swatch makes, which is a great thing. But I have this one concern. My concern was that whether this watch is going to last me. Is it a toy which just breaks down? It's a disposable, like other plastic Swatch watches. So what I come to realize is that it is corrosion resistant, so that's one thing. But the second problem is that somebody actually needs to go out and test it by hitting a hammer or something, one of those YouTube channels that actually destroy the product to see its like resilience. So I want somebody to do that with the case itself. We know the crystal used is pretty like scratchable. One YouTuber actually scratched it by taking it out from its box. So that's one thing. And the Velcro strap is light of itself. It's okay, like it's a Velcro strap. And the watch is naturally light because it's made out of plastic and ceramic. Some people may prefer that, some people may not prefer that. It's supremely comfortable, but I prefer a little bit of weight to my watches. So whether it's going to last or not, one thing is that it's corrosion resistant, so it is going to last in that regard. But I want to see how resilient the material is to like physical damage, like banging and stuff like that. I tried to like scratch the watch, and it did actually scratch the watch, so it was pretty easy to scratch. That is one thing I noticed. So quality, I'd say that it is certainly like an interesting innovation having a plastic mixed with a ceramic and see how that actually resists, how that actually holds. Swatch itself says that it is actually strong and rigid. So it has to stand the test of time in that regard when it comes to the material. But it uses a Swiss ETA quartz movement, which is proven, which has shown its reliability over time. So we'll have to see over time how it lasts. The other concern people had was the pricing. Now, take this into consideration. Rolex is Oyster Perpetual. I don't know how much it's worth right now, $80,000 Canadian. Is it worth that much? I don't think so. I think the watch itself is worth $3,000 or less. But there's this Rolex as a brand tax. I think the same applies here. Omega as a brand tax. Technically, they should be selling this watch for like $200. Your plastic watches sell for like $100. They should sell for $200. But $120 extra is the Omega tax, and I think which is fairly reasonable. Because considering this watch could potentially last, and it's such an interesting idea. It's such a beautiful looking watch. It's an absolutely beautiful looking watch. Something that anybody would respect. Any watch enthusiast would respect you owning. Not just because of the collaboration, which is very interesting. It's the design of itself and the execution of itself, which is commendable. Again, bioceramic needs to really it's better than the plastic Swatch watches, 100%. But let's see how it is as a material of itself. So based on it being plastic, I expect plastic and ceramic, I'd say it should be worth $200 and the partnership, but that extra $100 is just like the Omega brand text. And I think that if it was actually listed as a $200 watch, people would actually call it just a plastic watch. The fact that people are even debating and are seeing of it more of itself is because of that extra $100 that it has. That's making us actually consider its value. And I think that it is actually worth that value, because once this is discontinued, people will actually see it as a very desirable watch. And the fact that it's bioceramic, that really makes the red shine. It's a very rich red, and it contrasts very well with the Velcro strap and the white dial. It's absolutely beautiful. Certainly you could grab watches out there that are made of steel and I would say better resilience to physical damage, like the Den Henrys. But the cool factor of this watch is 10 out of 10. It's definitely a grab. You should definitely change your mind about this and forgive Swatch, but should be appreciative of Swatch in the regard that they actually made a watch which is beautiful, which is something that you never expect to have. Usually you would get an homage of the Speedmaster, but this is an actual Speedmaster. It's actually made by Omega in partnership with Omega, so it's something actually respectable that you're getting for like $300. And the design is just, how many times have I said this in this video, that the design is just gorgeous. Alright people, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Bye. So everybody, I got bad news for you. I just saw a video by Bark and Jack regarding this watch. So his video was titled something like, I changed my opinions about this watch. It's crazy how when I saw that video, I was like, nah, nothing he can possibly say would change my opinion on this watch. So he had his, one of Moonswatches, I forgot which colorway that is. He just pulled it out of his pocket. And one of these buttons, the pushers, just fell off. It just fell off. And he gave a zoomed in picture to it. It's as if the plastic just came off of the pusher. It wasn't a gluing issue. It was the material, the bioceramic breaking, you know? So that's something, like for a watch, regardless whether it's a $100 watch or a $200 watch, a watch should be rigid. It should not be brittle. It should not be something that you hit and it just disintegrates. That is not a watch. In my head, that is not the definition of a watch. That is a toy. Toys are something that you have in your hands and you hit something and suddenly the head falls off the action figure. Right? That's not how I see a watch. So I expect the watch to hold its length. It should be long lasting. It should be durable. You could get a Seiko 5 for under $100. I own one and I have it for like 6-7 years. An automatic movement. A steel watch with an automatic movement. So even if you try to justify the $300 price point for this, even if you say that it's an Omega tax, it just doesn't feel right for a watch to simply break off. It just doesn't make sense to me. And at that moment, it's over for me. If a watch can just simply disintegrate, that's a toy. And you know, that really breaks my heart. Because I had high hopes from this watch. Even after owning it, I was so impressed by the design, how it wears, what it represents. in my opinion, would have gone down as one of the most iconic watches made. A watch to remember. And even if it was not limited edition, it should be worthy of owning one. Because anything eventually discontinues and things go up in value, especially watches, because they tend to last. That's one of the characteristics of watches. They last. They're 50, 60 years down the road. Those watches are valuable. So it's so heartbreaking for me that it is something that easily could have been avoided. This problem of it not breaking down could have easily been avoided. It's just a simple fix that just the material would have been a little bit more lasting, right? So it just feels like, it's such a shame. It's just such a shame. I wanted to get another one, but I think I'm good. But I will still try to cherish it because there's so much right about it. Like if you can spare $300, I think you should. If you appreciate the design elements they chose, the artistic choices, and the initial idea. Perhaps I did not even intend for the material to be so brittle, but it ended up to be. It's genuinely a very, very cool watch. Like, I love wearing it, only if it wasn't so brittle. So yeah, I wasted the time with the video. I changed my opinion about this watch. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.